Welcome to a special edition of the Referrals podcast. Introducing our new Daily Dose. We've assembled the ultimate crisis response team for your business. Generous leaders from around the globe teaming up to teach, guide, and lead you through this time of isolation and quarantine. Now let's meet your host, Michael J. Maher.
Hey everybody, this is Michael J. Maher for another episode of the Daily Dose. Today is April 22nd, 2020, and we are here for the Daily Dose of positivity and productivity. Have you ever wondered what Michael Maher's secret weapon is? Today, I am going to disclose my secret weapon. But before I do that, and I'm going to do that with the help of the one and the only, Sheri Maher. And I'm going to be doing that in just 1 second. So before I introduce her, I need to do some of the announcements. So first of all, Friday at 2:30 in the event section of the Generosity Generation group, it says sign up for Dan Balter's Database on Steroids class, where you're going to dive deep with your relationships. He's going to show you how to fill out the VIP form and where to put that information, which is part of your action items for the quarantine times and the Daily Dose. What I'm hoping is by the end of the Daily Dose, you have 150 conversations with the 150 top people in your life. You have filled out 150 VIP forms. You have put those forms into a 3-ring binder, and you have written 150 handwritten notes, and you have invited those 150 to your Facebook group, which you have created. That's it. Now, some of you are just beginning. Start with 25, 5 a day. I'm a true believer in the 5 a day. Identify 5 great people, have 5 great conversations, fill out the VIP form, write 5 handwritten notes. 5 a day in today's world is, come on, you can totally do it. 5 a day. At the end of the Daily Dose, you'll have 150. You will have never been more powerful than when you have identified the 150 people that feed you the most amount of energy and make you the happiest. Trust me on that. It's a beautiful life. You earned it. You deserve it. So, other announcements. I will tell you that tomorrow we have Tammy Ebright, and she is a DISC expert. She is a certified DISC consultant. She will be talking about how each of us are dealing with the crisis and how to deal with the other family members and coworkers that we have in a way that makes us less frustrated and therefore more happy. And then Friday, we have a special surprise guest that you will want all of your friends, and I'm not talking just business friends, you will want all of your friends on Friday. So please invite them to the Generosity Generation group. It's very easy to do that. Just go up to the invite button, and then you will see the list of your friends. Pick out only the most energetic, the most positive, the friendliest, the Generosity Generation type of person. Invite them to the group, and trust me, they will thank you by the end of the day on Friday. Now, today is also Earth Day, and for those of you that are my Kansas City friends, you know that I have had a party for 13, 14 straight years called the Earth Day birthday. And not only is it Earth Day, but it is also Sheri, my wife's birthday. And like miracle of all miracles, this is Miles, our dog. Is that the cutest picture ever? Look at the other side. If you guys cannot see this, like you're listening to the podcast, you got to go to youtube.com/7LTV and just look at the cutest picture in the history of the world. Like, this is the cutest shot ever. Cute dog, cute wife, cute room, cute things in the background, cute everything, just cute. So anyway, so I got distracted, which sometimes happen when there's a lot of cute going on. Now, it's Miles's first birthday. So right off the bat, we are going to celebrate, and I have a cake that I've made for both of them, right? Hopefully this lights. There we go. Fire! How many of you have ever seen fire on a Zoom? Think about that, right? So now we got smoke, fire and smoke. So here's the deal. Max, come here. This is my son, Max. We're going to celebrate together. So right now we are singing for Sheri and Miles, and we're going to sing happy birthday. Everybody below, put happy birthday in the comments if your singing is not very good. If your singing is really good, sing along with me and put happy birthday in the comments. So you ready to go, Max?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Sheri and Miles. Mommy, right? You'd say mommy. Happy birthday to you. All right,
Yay.
take that downstairs so she can blow it off. But look, there's a little bit of wax forming, so keep
Here, let me blow it out from here.
No,
I'll blow it
she's
out from here.
You're gonna blow it out? All right, here we go.
Yeah.
She's gonna blow it out from there. Here we go.
I might need help.
Here we go. All right.
1,
Right.
2, 3.
Oh my God, look at that. That was amazing. All the way from downstairs, she has blown out the birthday candle. Now make a wish.
Oh, I did.
Oh, you did? All right.
Yeah.
Very good. So Max is going to come downstairs and grab Miles, and we are going to jet today. Max, make sure you're listening because this is going to be fun. All right. So something that I do with my most special guest. Oh, before I do that, I've got to do this, right? So we did birthday, but I need to introduce my guest. So every week on here, or every day on here, I talk about my guest. And sometimes I say, this is one of the most special people. This is one of my favorite people in life. Well, today, ladies and gentlemen, this is the most special. And this is my favorite person in the world. And I will tell you, I've known a lot of people in the world, and I've been on the world for a long time. And I just want you to know that this is the most special. This is one of the most caring, one of the most kind, one of the most beautiful inside and out, one of the most generous, one of the most appreciative, one of the most loving people that I've ever known. And I know a lot of people. And here's what's really good. You've ever noticed that when you know people more, sometimes you learn the shadows, you learn the skeletons, you learn the pimples, you learn the issue. And I want you to know that I can say with a 100% certainty that all that I said before was true in the beginning and is even more true now. All she has done is continue to live up to and beyond this amazing angelic image that I have of Sheri Maher. I have to tell you something. I'm wearing cologne today on this show because I want to impress Sheri Maher. And that's how I always am. I will tell you that one of my very first memories of when we were dating is I was playing in a pickup softball game. I was playing shortstop. I normally play third base, but we had a guy at third base. His nickname was Kool-Aid, and Kool-Aid was playing third base and I was playing short, and there was a pop-up behind the third baseman. And so I was playing shortstop. I ran like 20 steps as fast as humanly possible. I went horizontal and I caught it about an inch above the ground and slid. Now you got to realize this is a pickup softball game in Shawnee, Kansas. Like, who cares? Well, I care. And I made the catch, and out of all of the, some people were like, "Ooh, great," or "Nice job." I heard this really cute voice go, "What a stud!" And it was like I was in love right there. I mean, it was just that's like one of the top moments of my life is like she said, "What a stud," when I made that play. So this was early in our dating time.
That was a long time ago.
That was, yeah, long time. So, all right. So welcome to the Daily Dose of Positivity and Productivity, Sheri Maher.
Hey, thanks for having me.
All right. So we always do like 10 to 15 questions right in the beginning. You got to give a really quick answer. So you ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. So what is your birthday?
Today.
All right.
April 22nd.
4/22. What is your hometown and what high school did you go to?
I'm from Shawnee, Kansas, and I went to DeSoto High School.
DeSoto, the Fighting Green people. All right. Most people would consider me mostly Straight to the point, social and outgoing, steady and dependable, or cautious and perfectly accurate?
Steady and dependable.
Steady and dependable. What would you choose as your number 2? Straight to the point, social and outgoing, or cautious and perfectly accurate?
Depends. Probably. I mean, I know that my secondary characteristic is a C,
Okay.
but perfectly accurate, like that is not really ringing a bell with me.
All right. And your spouse is me. My birthday is June 11th. What's our anniversary?
November 12th.
What year?
Oh my God. What year did we get married?
I know what it is, but what do you know?
2003.
3. Good answer. All right. So, children, Max. What's Max's birthday?
10/25.
All right. And pet
Miles.
is a dog. What's his birthday?
4/22.
No way. How cool is that? And then
I know.
we had a dog named Lucky, and his birthday was July 4th, but he is deceased. All right. What's your favorite color?
Pink.
Pink. No joke. Look at the button on her shirt, right? What's your favorite TV show of all time?
Oh, of all time?
Yeah.
My favorite TV show of all time is probably The X-Files.
That's what I already wrote. All right. So, favorite non-alcoholic drink?
Water.
Mm-hmm. All right. And what's your favorite alcoholic drink?
Right now, I kind of like Truly, like all the different flavored. I don't know what they are.
What's your favorite flavor? Do you have a favorite flavor?
Yeah, there's like a blueberry acacia. Is that how you say that? Acacia? Is that how you say it?
I don't know.
Blueberry.
What's your favorite restaurant for lunch?
Probably just Panera. I'm easy.
Okay.
I'm good with soup.
Okay. Favorite dessert?
It's a toss-up between like fried ice cream and strawberry shortcake.
Oh, strawberry shortcake. I had fried ice cream written down. All right. What's your favorite musical artist? Bon Jovi. All right. What's your favorite actor or actress?
My favorite actor, actress. I love Julia Roberts.
Okay. She's from Smyrna. Did you know that?
I did know that.
Right down the road.
Yeah.
What's your favorite athlete or sports team? I mean, other than me as your favorite athlete, what's your favorite sports team? What's your favorite sports team?
In general, I tend to navigate towards baseball more than like football, but I really like all sports. Not a huge golf fan though.
So you're a Chiefs and a Royals fan?
Yeah.
All right. What would you get up early to do? Like even more early than normal? Like you had to get up 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning to drive somewhere to do something. What would you get up early to do?
I would get up that early to go to a Habitat for Humanity build day.
Yeah, for sure.
And I have. Maybe not 3 o'clock, but I have gotten up pretty early.
Okay.
With my
So
friends there.
bucket list. Do you have a bucket list? Or if you had to finish this sentence, I dream of someday blank, how would you finish that sentence?
Oh my gosh. I will travel anywhere. I mean, if
you could travel anywhere, where would you want to travel to?
I'd love to go to Greece. I'd love to go to Italy. I'd love to go to Florida right now. No, anywhere with the beach. Yeah. I do love to look at mountains too, though. I loved Alaska. I know it's weird. I love nature. So if I can see, I love to see nature. So.
All right. So I just want everybody to know that we are on the birthday episode. It's April 22nd. It is Earth Day birthday. And I just filled out the VIP form for Sheri. I had all of them filled out already. And the only one I missed was the favorite non-alcoholic drink. I had 7-Up and she said water. And I just, so I'm pretty proud of myself right there. So how well do you know your spouse? Do you know your spouse well enough to fill out their VIP form for them before you actually ask them the questions? Here's the other thing. Have you asked your spouse the VIP questions? Right? So, all right. So I've got to hit mute on my phone real quick. So I'm trying to do 2 things at once here today. Now, all right. So everybody's saying happy birthday, Sheri, which is cool.
I know. I saw. Thank you, everyone.
All right. So now, questions for me and Sheri. Anybody have questions before we even go right into the secret weapon conversation? Like, what is my secret weapon? I'm going to tell you what that is in 30 seconds, but you have to ask a question for Sheri and myself, right? And we will answer that question here in a little bit. So what question do you have? And Sheri, I'm going to need Max to help me on that because I can't do this with my phone and check the comments.
I got it.
Okay. All right.
I'm on.
So very good. All right. So let's get those questions. I will disclose my secret weapon in a few seconds, but Sheri, why don't you have worked, something that we do on this episode all the time is a pleasantly surprised, right? And yesterday I said I was pleasantly surprised by how much you were sweating today's session. And I know that you've changed your topic 47 times coming into today, which that's one thing I love about you is thoughtfulness. Being thoughtful is a superpower, and you are thinking about people when you're not in the room with them. You're thinking about this when you weren't here. So, why don't you, or, as an intro, what did you think about covering today? And how did you manage that process? Because you were really there's a lot of things I could talk about. So,
Yeah.
So what did you decide to talk about? And what are some things maybe you didn't decide to talk about? Or why did you decide to talk about what you're going to talk about?
Well, let me start off by saying that I'm super nervous to be on here. Mm-hmm. And I've been nervous for 2 weeks about mm-hmm. being on here. And because being on here is the deal. I mean, goodness sakes, look at everyone we've had on. I mean, we've learned so much. There's been amazing people. There's been amazing content. And so there have been days where I'm literally emailing Mandy, backfill my spot right now. I got nothing. I got nothing.
So what's funny about that, Sheri, is that I have backfilled I had every Monday scheduled for me.
Yeah.
And now every Monday is somebody else. I've given up my spots on Mondays for other people. And it's a lot of people are saying this is the best looking guest I've ever had. So I appreciate that. And I should have led with you because it gives me so much credibility. They're like, the greatest sales job you've ever done, Michael Maher, is selling you on me. So, all right. So
anyway, I've been back and forth 100 times. I got nothing. I don't know what. And even I asked, we had our CRTs on a monthly call and our certified referral trainers. And I hijacked the call at the end. And I'm like, all right, you guys, I'm totally sweating this. I don't know what I could possibly even share, what I could talk about. And they were all like, oh my gosh, that's so easy. Just talk about what you do, mm-hmm. how you do what you do. And I'm like, that is so boring. I'm like, what are you talking about? What do I do?
What'd they say?
Well, they were like, you're like the glue that holds it all together. And I'm like, oh, well, that's fun. And they're like, you're the number 2. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's super fun. Everybody wants to be number 2.
Nobody wants to talk about number 2, but they all want to do number 2. I don't know what that I got to go number 2, right? That's what number 2 sounds like. We need to go away from that. So what'd you, and I love that because you do a million things. And then mm-hmm. they're just like, well, just talk about what you do. Well, I don't have time to talk about a million things.
Yeah.
So
and the words that they use, we're all used to hearing them, right? Like a lot of people on this call right now have their number 2. They have their glue. They have that person, right? That makes everything happen. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I don't like that. I don't like that term. And so I was just thinking it really made me think what at a high level, what do I do?
Yeah. What are you the number 1 of?
Right.
That's really the way to think it. Cause I don't see you and Mandy and Robert and Sean, I don't see any of you as the number 2. What I see is a number 1 online marketer. a number one, Mandy is number one in marketing communications, and you're number one in like helping decisions be made and things move. Like you're an integrator, from Rocket Fuel.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Number one integrator,
And I was thinking like, well, what do I do? And what I've always done for you is I see myself more as like a seamstress, like somebody that can sew it all together, someone that can tie it all together. And I think it's important to talk about like, and this is applicable for pretty much everybody on this call. Like, when you're in business, a lot of people that are on this call right now are like the visionary or like the fashion designer, right? Like if you're the fashion designer, I'm the seamstress. And the difference between, I think the biggest difference between you and I is like, you're on the moon trying to figure out how to get to Mars, and I live on planet Earth.
Yeah.
So sometimes my job is to like oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I'm like playing ball at the same time with Miles because he's super happy that it's his birthday. So I'm trying to listen to your ideas and incorporate them into what we're doing, or how do I take your vision and kind of sew it into our existing framework. So I think that's a great way to kind of differentiate between us, and it's probably one of the reasons why you and I can work together, because we sometimes we step in each other's lanes. I mean, I'll say that, but like for the most part, like you live on the moon and I live on planet Earth, and I take those little steps to make it happen. So
what's interesting is first of all, you said that you see yourself kind of as a seamstress, and you're probably gonna have to explain that to a lot of people of like, what is a seamstress, because, and it reminds me of Demolition Man. I don't know how many people have seen the movie with Sylvester Stallone and who was the gentleman that played the bad guy? It was not Denzel Washington. It was, God, I can't remember his name. It's been like, this is an 80s, 90s movie, right? And in Demolition Man, Sylvester Stallone came back as the cop who was trying to catch the bad guy. And the bad guy somebody had programmed into him as part of his rehab project. He could hack into any computer, he could build any bomb, and he knew how to use any weapon. That was the bad guy's programmed rehab assignment. And Sylvester Stallone's rehab assignment was...
I'm saying it's Wesley Snipes, by the way.
It is Wesley Snipes. Yeah, thank you for that. So Wesley Snipes, bad guy, was programmed to do all these bad guy things. And Sylvester Stallone was in this cryogenics program for 100 years. And he was programmed to be a seamstress. Like that was his thing. So he actually sewed a sweater for Sandra Bullock, who was the other cop in the program. So he was like, oh my God, like Wesley Snipes got programmed for computer skills and weapon skills and bomb making skills, and I got programmed to be a seamstress? What the heck? And Sandra Bullock goes, oh, I just noticed on your shirt it's ripped. He goes, oh no, I can, all I need is needle and thread. I can take care of that. And then he goes, did I just say that out loud? So, and I will tell you, when is a seamstress most needed? A lot of times is in apocalypse, right? It's in a crisis. That's when a seamstress is most needed. Something's broken, something needs fixed, and somebody needs to sew it back together. So
yeah, and I think
I
was going to say, and I think one of the reasons why I chose that analogy too is because I actually do know how to sew. I wouldn't say that I'm a seamstress, but like my mom and my grandma taught me how to sew when I was very young. And so like I designed and like created my prom dress for my senior year in high school. And like, and there's been times when like you're getting ready to go up on stage and you have like a button came off your jacket, and I was like, no worries, like, was able to fix it right away. So, and I think that's, that's part of what I do. So
I think that's a thing that people need to know is we've been working together for
a little
23 years. 23 years that we have been working side by side. And I want you to think, have you ever worked with someone for 23 years? And now put on top of that, we've been together for 28 years. So think about that. Like think about the separation of work and family. There is no separation of work and family here other than our time blocks, to be totally honest with you. 6 p.m. kind of is the alarm going off and saying we need to move on. So you would think, I swear to God, like you would think we'd kill each other, or we and do we have our moments? 100%.
Sometimes it's an option. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah, we need to be careful because behind every joke is some level of truthfulness. And what Sheri watches a lot is I Almost Got Away with It and Ghost Adventures. So her two shows, here's what she's worried about. She's worried that if she kills me, that I'll come back as a ghost and haunt her. So she's doing research on those two things. I swear to God, that's like, what are you watching? NCIS? What? Like, why are you watching that? Well, I want to see all the evidence that they collect. It's like, why? Why are you doing that? So I'm a little worried about that, seriously. So I want to welcome Christina Larson and Tammy Ebright. They tuned in, and Robert Finch is tuning in. How about that? So thank you guys for coming in. I appreciate it. And so, so talk to us about like what you want to talk about today. Like when it comes to being a seamstress, what does that mean? Like, I think of seamstress, I think of sewing, even though there is a lot more to being a seamstress. So talk to me about that.
Well, I think from a business perspective, if we were to use the word of sew, S-E-W.
Don't tell me you made an acronym.
I did.
That's why I love her, people. She made an acronym.
Come on. Oh, hey, somebody just said they love Ghost Adventures. See, there you go.
I'm sorry, Marilee. I'm not with you. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
So talking about if I were to narrow down to like 3 main things I think that I do is I serve, I execute, and the W word is work. So from a serve perspective, I kind of view my main function or my main role, I guess, on the team or whatever, is like, how can I help? What do you need? And one of the other things I really try to do is think ahead for what you're going to need. And I think too that because we've been together for so long, sometimes and a lot of this, like I really spent a lot of time thinking about this because I think that a lot of what I do, I never really thought about before. I just did it. I just know that this happens and then this happens. And these are the areas where I can kind of, plug in and whatever. So
for example, right. So what people don't know is maybe they don't know is you are 100% the producer of our podcast. We're talking a top 50 podcast in the world, referralspodcast.com. And just an example of that is as soon as we heard the stay at home or saw the quarantine coming, we had a meeting with the team and we said, hey, listen, we need to go from doing the podcast 4 times a month or weekly. We need to go to doing it daily. See, she's crying right now, just thinking about how hard that was. So we went from doing it basically, 4 times a month to doing it 20 times a month in a matter of a week. And
it was a weekend.
In a weekend. And Sheri figured out how to do the intro, how to do the outro, how to edit video,
while I'm the producer of the podcast, I wasn't the one that actually
stitched it together. You were not the seamstress.
Together and actually launched it out.
Yeah.
I just, kind of did everything else. And we decided on Friday that starting Monday, this was going to happen every day. Yeah. And our current company that we partnered with, they just didn't have the bandwidth to do something like that. So I figured out that weekend how to do that.
And I have to tell you that it was so amazing to watch you work that weekend. You were so happy when you figured that puppy out. I mean, it was just like, you're like, I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. And then you were just like, I got to do it. And then over the weekend, it was like, I did it. And I will tell you there's a great book out there called Rocket Fuel that I encourage all of you visionaries to read. And I encourage all you seamstresses or integrators is what it's called. Mm-hmm. Read Rocket Fuel. And you guys should read it together, because it's funny is one of you will read it one way, the other will read it another way. And then you'll come to kind of a common ground when you're having a conversation about it. But the big thing on that is as a visionary, we're going to push our integrators out of their comfort zones, and we need to be patient, and we need to still do it. And that's kind of, and that's with Sheri. It's like, I'm not worried about pushing her to her limits and beyond, because she always rises to the occasion. She's an achiever, and she's a commitment person. So, I was like, was I a little worried that we couldn't go from 4 to 20? And the thing is I go, but it's not 4 to 20. It's 4 to 1 in one day. So let's look at it. What would it take to produce 1 in one day? And she figured that out. And now we're producing a podcast every single day, Monday through Friday. And, she has learned how to stitch together or sew together these episodes and get them on YouTube, get them out to iTunes, get them to Google Stitcher, Stitcher, and then get them to Google Play. And then get the message out to all of you. So that's a pretty amazing accomplishment right there. And that's just one of the million things that she is doing. So
I think
S is for serve, yes?
I think the other way that I serve our team too is I always, sometimes I look to set people up like for a win, mm-hmm. or for the good of something, or sometimes like I know everyone pretty well on our team, and I also know that I know how the best way to approach a lot of people on our team. And especially like if I'm working with you, Michael, and we know that there's something that you and I have talked about, and we are just like clearly not on the same page about it. Sometimes if Mandy and I talk about it, I'll have Mandy bring up that same subject in her way with you. And then you're like, oh, I totally get what you're saying. And that's a brilliant idea. And it's this same thing that I said, but Mandy said it in a different way that resonated with you. And I'm totally fine with that. I would never go back out and say like, oh my God, I totally said that. And that was my idea. I don't care. Mandy for the win. Chalk one up for Mandy. Like another one up for Mandy. But yeah, so I look for, I guess I'm looking for the solution, and I don't care who gets the win per se for us to get there. Mm-hmm. I just want us to get there. And the other thing too is that like we will all get there. We're not going to leave Sean behind or leave Robert behind or.
Yeah, that was a commitment we made from the very beginning, is we're not going to lay anybody off, and I know, like I heard, a big speaker laid off 400 people, and it's just like, wow. I mean, like 400 people in the first 15 days. And it was like, like what? Like, how's that? I mean, good effort, way to try to keep them, but it's one of those where,
Are you enjoying the Daily Dose? Want to connect with thousands of other business owners that are winning the referral game while working from home right now? Head over to the Generosity Generation Facebook group. Connect with leaders, visionaries, and business owners from all over the world. Go to www.joingengen.com. That's www.joingengen.com.
The other thing too is that sometimes the best way to serve is to simply listen. And that is one of the biggest superpowers of Sheri, is that I have great ideas. I believe, ideas that can change the trajectory of people's lives. And I'm not sure how to position it. So a lot of times I'll say, Sheri, let me run this by you. And I will literally talk the entire time. And she will just listen. And by the end of it, I'm like, oh my God, that's it. And then she'll go, great. And then I'll go do it. But it's like she listened the whole. An example is 7L. Like when I was writing 7L, I had like 100,000 words, which would be like a 400-page book. But the thing is, I just read it. It was like, man, this is awful. I mean, this is so much. Like people are gonna be overwhelmed. And so I said to Sheri, I was just like, I need to think of another way. And so we had a conversation about that. Then she goes, well, what are the best books that you've read? And I was like, that's a great question since I've read 1,500 plus books. So I thought about it and it was like, the best books for me are stories. Like I love to read books that are more in story format than some author yelling at me or like telling me. And so I thought, oh, it needs to be a story. So I was talking to Sheri about I need to make it a story. And then I was like, all right, what's the typical path or journey of like a real estate agent who learns? And it was like, well, they go to an event, they sign up for coaching, they go through coaching, and then they get to speak at that event. Well, guess what? That is 7L in a nutshell. Is Michelle leads Rick to the first event. He's like wowed. Michelle is on stage, which wows him even more. And then he does the coaching. He does 7 sessions of coaching. And then he does the second event. And he is the one that is brought up on stage as a testimonial. And then it just so happens that Rick and Michelle's love story is a part of this because it is a love story. So Sheri was a big part of the construct of it becoming a story, which so many people love. So you can thank her for that. So what's the E?
The E is execute, because that's
yeah. See, that's a killer word too. I'm worried about you. I just want you to know, I do not want you to execute me. I want you to execute for me and with me.
I know.
Is that okay? So
I know, and I know that you don't like the word execute, and I know you don't like the word work.
Did you hear about the coach that one day? Like the New York Jets coach or Indianapolis Colts coach, he was asked, like, they just got beat 42-7. And the reporter goes, so, like, let's talk about your team's execution. Like, what do you think about your team's execution today? And the coach goes, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
That's pretty hard. So.
There are days where that's a valid way to say that. But execute to me is all about like the GSD. And Mandy and I have days where it's like IGSD, and it's GSD. A GSD day is get stuff done day. We say a different word, but we'll call it stuff. Get stuff done. And I think
Jennifer Scarparo is waiting for you to say the real word. So
I know she's waiting for me to drop the S-bomb. She likes it anyway. But yeah, no, it's true. And I think that and that's what the E is all about. It's getting things done. It's moving things forward. It's kind of checking off those boxes like we've got to go. Because I think working with you, like you said, you have a ton of ideas, and they're not like wow, I think we should do something extra idea. It's like, I think we should move our podcast from 4 episodes a month to 22. Mm-hmm. Like they're big ideas. Yeah. And sometimes in order to make like, oh, okay, we go from 4 to 22. Like that's like one step, right? Yeah. Well, the 6,300 steps that happen in between there, like all you care is that you got from here to here, and I took care of the 6,300 in the middle. And so it's making those things happen, every day.
Yeah.
Making stuff happen.
For those of you just joining us, it is Earth Day birthday with Sheri Maher. And today, Michael Maher is disclosing his secret weapon. He is showing his secret weapon. Sheri Maher is my secret weapon, in case you have not figured that out by now. She is my secret weapon to my success. The reason that you're listening to this podcast or watching this live or this YouTube is because of her. I mean, truly in this regard, but also some people would look at the accolades and the bestsellers and the speaking and the things that I've achieved. And the only way those could have been achieved is by having Sheri in my life. And that's the truth. And the thing is like the first letter she used in so was serve. And, serve is a very unselfish word. And she's a very unselfish person. She's the type of person who literally would do anything for anybody. In fact, that's something I've had to protect her from over time, is people would, because she's also really smart and really resourceful. So guess what? Like if somebody can't figure it out themselves, they go to her. Well, the problem is that she had too many of those demands and too many people needed her on that regard. So she needed to manage and prioritize that kind of thing. And then, she's talking about execute for the E, and it's just like execute, get stuff done. And that is, honestly, between her and Mandy, they're machines. I mean, they are machines of execution. They're getting stuff done all day long, every day. And you got to have that, right? You got to have this visionary who's building or who sees the path. You also need a person to build the path. Now, I'm not shy. I'll jump in and build the path. But Sheri and Mandy have gotten to the point where they're like, Michael, you're screwing up the path. Just tell us where you want the path to go. That's when you have a beautiful relationship, is when you have the people who build the path, and they don't want you to build the path. They just want you to tell them where the path goes. And that's execution. They're the bricklayers. They're the seamstress. They're putting it together, So that's a beautiful. Now, so let me ask you this, Sheri, in your opinion, what's the difference between serving and execution, or serve and execute? What's the difference between those two?
I think serving a lot has to do with attitude. I'm always there to help. And sometimes sometimes serving right now is just like, have you killed your kids yet? I'm just curious, like, have you thought about it? 'Cause I have. Yeah. But, so just, I think a lot of it has to do with attitude.
So attitude is customer service, right? You have a customer service attitude, serve first. We talked yesterday about serve to deserve, right? And people are like, am I worthy of referrals? Am I worthy of other people helping me? And the truth is, yes, you are. But how do you become more worthy? Well, what is the worthiness is tied to I deserve, or do I deserve? And deserve is the word we need to focus on. And please notice that deserve, if you break it into its roots, is de serve. And for those of you with a Latin background, you know that de is of and serve is service. So of service. So if you want to deserve more in life, you need to serve more in life. And it is serve to deserve. And that's the truth, right? Serve to deserve. The more you serve and the more you have of service, the more value you provide the world, the more the world will provide you value. The more value the world will provide you back. So, and then on the execute is a lot of times what I love about the word execute is typically it's used in association with the plan, right? Execute the plan. And that is the key here, is that this whole concept of a strategy and a plan is all right, what's the plan? And then execute. Where is the road going? And then do I have enough bricks? And let's go, you know? And, you know, Sheri's the type of person, it's like, she'll be told, we don't have enough bricks. Okay. Let me think about that for a second. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to cut all the bricks in half horizontally. And now we have just doubled our bricks. We have enough bricks, and we just lay them top side only. And now you've got twice as many bricks. That's how she would figure that out. And she would figure it out. She's resourceful like that. Now, what is the W in so?
It's work. And I think that's a word that describes me. I'm not afraid to work, and I'm not afraid. I would never ask anybody on our team to do something that I wouldn't do. And so a lot of times if I delegate something or we work together on something, I'm asking, you know, people to do different parts of it, like from an execution standpoint, other than like, you know, well, I'm not going to do that.
Right.
So anyway, so that's a word that I love. I love the word work, and I'm not afraid of hard work. And like, you know, I talked about like volunteering for Habitat for Humanity. I'm glad that I know so many people in Atlanta that also love Habitat for Humanity.
Amen.
And do build days and stuff, because like, man, when I get stressed, I like going out and like working on site for Habitat for Humanity is good for me. Like it's really good for me. So
it is. I mean, it's like, you know, it's therapeutic for you when you know what to do and you just do it. You come out better. Like Sean Rawls was on Monday, and so I asked Sheri, like he had the great question, is what is a thing that you do that actually Tim Brahim said it on Friday, and then Sean Rawls said almost the same thing on Monday. It was amazing that those two were back to back, Friday and Monday, because they were like, you know, what's the thing to do that lights you up? What's the thing that you do that energizes you? What is the thing that when you go do it, you come back and it's like you're on fire, you're energized, you're refreshed. And for Sheri, it's like, you know, it's work. And an example of that would be Habitat for Humanity. But another example is like mulching our yard. You know, we could hire the landscaper to do it, but this yard takes 50 bags of mulch. She does it all with gloves on and hair tied back.
5 trips to Home Depot.
Well, hopefully not anymore. But the thing is it's one of those where it's like, you know, she goes to work. And what's funny is I don't think I've seen anybody look cuter, like messed up with a bunch of like mulch all over their knees and elbows and shirt and face. And it's just like, I want to take a picture. It's just like, oh my God. Nobody looks cuter in a work shot than Sheri Maher. And it's, you know, cleaning the house, like cleaning the kitchen, cleaning. She just gets a sense of value and worthiness. And it's like everything has its place when she's done. And it looks like $1 million when it's done. And she gets to see the fruit of her labor. I would definitely say work is a value for you. I would say work is a value for Mandy as well. You know, and I would probably put work as a value for myself as well, like do the work, you know. But the thing that I've really had to help Sheri balance with is, you know, remember, we get paid to get things done. We don't get paid to do it. And that's a really important phrase for a lot of you, is that, you know what, you may have to hire something or have somebody else to get something done. And there's so many examples, like health insurance. Like some of you don't have health insurance, and it's like, you don't have health insurance because you don't know how to do it or what to do it, but somebody does. So just call them, figure it out, and then get yourself some health insurance. but there's a million. Like we just had this meeting this morning about intros and outros. Like we have 30 mornings. Our 30 morning classes are world class. Shalee Davis and Neil Smith on the West Coast, Tony and Jen Scarpero on the East Coast. We do a 30 morning. It is literally, we're changing lives. They're changing lives in 30 mornings. So we're like, we need an intro and an outro for a sample class. And Sheri's like, well, I could do it and I can do it and I'll figure it out. But it's one of those where it's like, all right, how fast do we need it? And could somebody else do that? It's like, remember, we get paid for what's done, not for doing it. We don't get paid for doing things. We don't. We get paid for things being done. We are a results-based company. Referco is. I mean, we get paid for things that are done, not for doing the work, which is interesting. It's a different mindset. It really is. So here's the thing. So Cheryl Nolan just said, Sheri is like a duck or a swan, smoothly and gracefully gliding along the water. Meanwhile, underneath the water, she is paddling like hell. So I love that. Shannon Julian is in the house. Oh my God, this is like our most popular episode with the most popular people I know. So for those of you that know Sheri, I want you to describe Sheri in one word in the comments.
Oh gosh.
I want you to describe one word. How would you describe Sheri? Now, so how do I identify if I need a seamstress, right? Everybody is like now learning what the secret weapon is. It's you. And so how do they get a secret weapon like you? Or do they need it?
Well, and that's a great question, if you need it or not. And I think that one of the things that we did, I mean, forever ago, was we literally visualized our perfect day. And not so much about, like, I know in 30 mornings we talk about visualize your perfect morning, but like, what is your perfect day? And it was more from like, I get up feeling refreshed because I know that like X, Y, and Z is going to happen at work today. And it's like, I feel great driving to work because, my car is paid off. And I feel great when I arrive to the office because our real estate office, we feel great arriving at the office because Tiffany would arrive 30 minutes before everybody else, and she would always make sure all the lights were on, your office door was unlocked.
She ran my system, my opening system. My computer was on. It was like perfect.
But that's what I'm saying. Like we identified all the stuff, like the printer was already turned on, the coffee was already made, all the lights were on in the office. The music was like, we had background music on, the rotator board welcoming client in for appointments that day was already turned on. So we had like this procedure. So it's like when you walked into the office, all this stuff was already done. And so I think what it is the high level is identifying, what does that look and feel like? Mm-hmm. And then taking like step number 2 is like, okay, what do I need to make that happen? And then even taking it to taking it at a higher level, like, I come up with this idea and it's implemented in this time frame. Mm-hmm. And I want to achieve this, this, and this. And it's like, you kind of know how to get there, but then it's like the next day you have like 16 other great ideas. And the next day you have appointments and your phone is ringing and you're getting emails and you get, it's like you start getting on this cycle and then you're going faster and you're faster and faster and faster. Yeah. And pretty soon you don't even know what day it is. And so I think that if people could take a second to really think about what it is that they want and to identify where those gaps are, I think that would be like my first bit of advice to you. Because sometimes what you need is an assistant. Mm-hmm. And an assistant, like, I am not your assistant. Mm-hmm. No. Let's just say that. I
don't have an assistant.
No, we don't have an assistant right now.
Yeah, but today is, or was it yesterday? Administrative Assistance Day. I think it was today. Is it today?
It's today, yeah.
So some of you need to thank your administrative assistant today. This is your reminder if you haven't done that yet, by the way. Flowers to their home would be nice, or an Amazon gift certificate or something. But actually that's something that we need to talk about at Referco is maybe getting an assistant for the three of us, and maybe the four of us. I'm not sure what Robert needs, but that's actually a great thing to write down. But you are not an assistant. And, for some people, their assistant may rise to the level of a seamstress, of a number two, of a leader in whatever realm that is. We need an office leader. We need somebody that runs the office. Tiffany was that person. And you need these people that lead their own domain. And I think that's one of the things that we can really learn from this episode is when we work with people is that they're not an assistant at your beck and call. Make them the leader of their own domain. Give them a project called podcast and let them own it. Let them own it. Let them run it, and give them all the accolades when it's a success. Have a magazine as a project. Let them run it. Let them own it. Let them blow it up. Let them do really well, and then thank Mandy for making Referrals Magazine a reality. And so it's one of those where it's like project based, domain based, and they own it. They're the leader of it. And
I think the other thing that's important too is like the seamstress really is like that day-to-day person, because there has to be that point person that's there, and maybe not even physically there, but like the go-to person on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, like the visionary, like in Rocket Fuel, they're called the visionary. The visionary isn't there on a daily basis because of either their role or just what they do. They're not available on a daily basis. Whereas I think that I am.
So here are some words that they're using to describe you.
Oh, geez.
Results, Tommy Sandvik. Love, Dan Dweck says love. Shelley Hummel says spectacular. Tammy Ebright says kind. Darla Evanoff says deserving. Toral White says loving. Dave DeBryan says dedicated. Sean Wood says amazing. Sharon Heyer says caring. Shannon Julian says patient, and that would be a very appropriate word for your relationship with Shannon Julian. Boom. Calm, says Lynn Stone. Diligent. Superwoman, says Cheryl Nolan.
Oh, geez.
A lot of happy birthdays. Kyle Draper's in the house. John Rutledge is in the house. Brandon Tracy's in the house. Jolene Sudart, guess what word she used for you? I'll give you a hint. It's not a cuss word for the first time ever.
It's not a cuss word?
Yeah. So what do you think she says?
I'm going to look.
No, I'm going to tell you.
What?
Let me tell you, it rhymes with assy. She called you classy.
Ooh, nice.
Right? How cool is that? Johnny White says genuine, and I would definitely support all of those answers. And we had a question on here is how did we meet? Do you want to answer that? Or do you want to, we're like at 150 right now, right? 158. So we're coming up towards the time to let people get on with their day. Okay. But you tell me. All right,
yeah,
you guys tell me.
If I answer it versus you, because my answer is accurate. And wow. I can make it very short. We met when I was 18 and Michael was 23. 22. Mm-hmm. And I worked at a softball, like a big softball complex where they like run softball and baseball tournaments. I was 18, so I was working in the bar or in the concession stand, and he was playing ball out there all the time. So we met in the bar up there. That's the short answer.
Wow. That is the truth. So I'll leave it at that. So, by the way, if you are interested, I am teaching a systems class next Wednesday at 2:30. You can sign up in events. I will tell you that it is probably going to sell out, not because it's me, but because it's about systems. But I'm going to show you how to go from literally from this, if you'll notice that is a blank piece of paper, to this, which is a written checklist, to this, which is a system, and this is actually the daily dose prep system. So how do we prepare for the show each day? That is so easy, an 11-year-old could run it. Now, could an 11-year-old get you prepared for your show with this, which is a blank piece of paper? With this, maybe. But can an 11-year-old get you ready for your show with this? The answer is 100%. So I'm going to show you how to develop systems so easy a fourth grader could run them. And that is next Wednesday. So if you're interested in that, put systems below, systems in the comments right now. And also you can go to the events tab here in the Generosity Generation group, and we will make sure that you get notified when the class is. I'm looking forward to teaching that. I'm going to show you why systems are crap. And I'm going to show you why systems are truly the difference maker in business. You know, the solar system is a system of systems. Your body is a system of systems, the cardiac system, the respiratory system, the whatever it may be. Well, guess what your business needs to be? Your business, your body of work needs to be a system of systems, and I'm going to show you how to start that on next Wednesday. Next Wednesday, right, Mandy? Yep, next Wednesday. So before I let you go, remember, by the end of this week, if you've been in from the very beginning, you will be at 125 people that you have identified as the most positive, fun, happy, like you're on a stranded island or stranded on an island. You want them on the island with you. That's what we're doing with this. Now, 125 identified. You want to have 50 VIP forms filled out by the end of this week. Now, some of you have upped the challenge, and some of you are trying to do the 150 by the end of this week, which good for you. Now, here's the thing. Another way to do this, listen, is to go, and this is a little self-serving. Go to the invite part of the Generosity Generation. You can go, it's at the top, hit invite, and then all of your friends on Facebook will come up. Go through your friends list and write down the name of the positive people in your friends list from Facebook, and then hit invite. Invite them to the Generosity Generation. Okay, invite them to this group. Now, that is the self-serving part of this, but this will help you identify. It is amazing when I was inviting some of my friends to this group, like I was reminded of these awesome people in my life that I've lost touch with. It's going to be the same for you. I am telling you to do this because it's good for you. I'm also telling you to do this because it's good for the Generosity Generation and this group and myself to meet the best people of your life so that they can be a part of this community. So that's the next step. Before I go, I just want to say thank you so much, Sheri, for everything that you've done for me in my life. And I want to just formally say thank you for being our guest today on the Daily Dose of Positivity and Productivity. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the thing I want you to take away from today's episode is that you reap what you sow 100% of the time. And what do I mean by that? You reap what you sow. Now, in this case, the sow is S-O-W instead of S-E-W. I know that. But the thing that we have to remember is that you get out of life what you give into life. And it's not about what you get. It's about what you give and about what you gift. So what are you giving in life and what are you gifting others in life? It is about serving to deserve. And I will tell you that you will get far more out of life if you look to serve today. And you might think, well, I'm not sure how to serve. Here's how you can serve today. You can call a really positive, optimistic person that you know and just check on them. And you can say, this guy forced me to do this 20 questions challenge, this VIP form, and I would like to ask you some questions about you because I'm genuinely curious to learn more about you. Ask them the questions, and then at the end, just say something like, how can I help you? What can I do for you? And boom, you have served. I'm going to tell you what's going on in the quarantine times. There are people in the generosity generation who are doing these calls, and they are, what's amazing is not necessarily people are buying or selling homes or getting loans right now. But what they've discovered through these conversations is they have filled their pipeline for when the all clear. That pipeline is going to, you got to worry about the bottleneck in the pipeline because there's so many of these referrals that are gathering up that the biggest challenge is when the all clear sounds, how do we handle all this business? That's going to be the challenge. Now, if you want that to be your challenge, abundance, too many leads, too many referrals, then get on the phone now. Get into relationship now. Do the things that we're talking about on the Daily Dose now. Check in to the Daily Dose each and every day. Tomorrow, we have Tammy Ebright, who is a certified DISC consultant and expert, and she's going to talk about the platinum rule, how to treat others the way they want to be treated in such a way that you get treated the way you want to get treated. You get what you give. You need to give and gift to get. And guess what? Give and gift is sometimes the getting in itself. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you being on another episode of the Daily Dose of positivity and productivity, brought to you by Referco, the Generosity Generation, and of course, referralspodcast.com. We'll see you tomorrow on the Daily Dose.